Hello, welcome to this week's video, and this week's video is all about breaking down electricals, actually taking an electrical product that maybe has something wrong with it, something that you don't use anymore, something that you've had for quite some time, and you think that some parts are still relevant, but some parts aren't. Yeah, I'm going to talk to you about breaking down laptops, breaking down TVs, and also breaking down tumble dryers. Those are the three things that I've done. Every single time I've broken something down and sold off the pieces, I've made a profit. So yeah, this is something that works, in my opinion, as long as you source properly and get the right product. So I'll cover that in this video as well. I'll basically tell you the story behind everything that I've broken down. My name's James Smith and I run channel JR74. Please like, comment, subscribe to your heart's content, okay? Presently, around about 200 videos on my channel now, all about eBay, selling on eBay, the sort of stuff that sells on eBay, okay? I want this channel to be educational, always have done ever since day one. So let's dive in, shall we, to breaking down electricals. First thing I'm going to talk about was just a simple Samsung Chromebook. I can remember seeing this and I can remember getting it. I must have got it, oh God, about 10 years ago now, and that will make it about 2015, and I think I got it for about 70, 80 quid. Basically, the whole point of me getting it was to introduce my children to computing. They were all quite young at the time, so, you know, and primary schools have a lot of stuff online as well, and that was starting to become something that primary schools were starting to do because Google Classroom had just been released, and well, that's a game changer to education, being able to work from home, believe me. But there was a Samsung Chromebook XE303C12 that I got from our local CEX shop, okay? Hopefully a picture of it would have come in by now if I've edited this video properly. Yeah, it served its purpose. Okay, the kids loved it. They used a Google Doc, they used a Google Slides to make slideshow presentations, stuff like this, and, you know, linked it to printers, and it was a brilliant, brilliant introduction to computing for them. But then, you know, these were released in 2012, so a couple of years ago. Basically, its processing speed wasn't exactly matching the processing speed of the computers that were coming out. And my kids had got their own computers by then. So, and the power lead had a bent bit on the end of it. And I didn't particularly want to try and straighten that because, you know, you do think to yourself, you don't mess with the power section. All right, so I thought to myself, well, and this is key to all reselling, okay, trying something new. So I thought to myself, right, okay, let's take it to bits, let's sell off the parts. That's exactly what I did. And really, it was an experiment because at the time when I did it, I put this on 2 years ago in 2023. So already by then it was 11 years old. I made over 30 quid back on it. I've been through my figures, and the actual amount that I made on it was £31.48, okay? And that's without the power lead. So maybe the power lead would have got an extra tenner on top of that, and there's still some bits that I've still got to sell on this, okay? Yes, they've been listed for quite a long time, but they're small, they're easy to store, and as long as you catalogue them properly, there might be somebody out there who needs this. Who knows? Who knows? But as your shop grows, I suppose it's important to keep track. Oh, I'm saying suppose. Of course it's important to keep track of everything. And if you feel after a couple of years that just isn't working, then maybe you can put it on a sale, all right? Who knows? I've done that recently. If you check my back videos, I did a 60% off everything that had been on my shop for over a year. And there was a few successes from that. There was a few sales, so it is worth doing. Maybe you could put it on as an auction starting at 10p. You know, there's a whole multitude of things that you can do with things like this. But ultimately, most of the stuff sold on it that I broke down. And yeah, it worked, and it worked quite well. So yeah, that was 30 quid. One thing that I would suggest that you do is get one of these. Okay, this is sort of like a micro screwdriver set. These are absolutely fantastic, easily available on Amazon. If you just put in screwdriver set for computer repairs, this is exactly the sort of thing that will come up for you. But you can see there all of the endings for that screw driver bit that I just showed you. All of the pieces that fit all of the different slots within a computer are all in here. These are fantastic and a great purchase. For the bigger things like the tumble dryer that I mentioned, getting some sort of socket set would be advantageous to take those apart, definitely. But there was one part from this that I did need for that. You might think that something as large as a tumble dryer doesn't really need such a small socket set, but these are bendy bits that you can put in the end of the screwdriver, okay, like that, all right, and then that bends so you can like take screws out round corners and stuff like that. This came in massively handy when I was doing it. So having the right equipment is really important. So that got me thinking. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking to yourself, hold on a minute, Smithy. You paid 70 quid for that Samsung and you only made £30 on it. But what you've got to consider is this. The value to me at the time when I broke it down was zero because it was broken. Yeah. The kids weren't using it anymore. It was just something that was in the house taking up space. Its value is zero because we're not using it anymore. So therefore, I got 30 quid that I wouldn't have had if I would have just taken it down the tip. Yeah, I have seen these online as a full laptop, and I could have put it online, and I've seen them online for 30 quid. Would you get 30 quid for them? I really don't think so. I don't think that anybody would actually get something like that, a Chromebook that was over 10 years old. I very, very much doubt. The only way that they would get it is if they bought it off you for a much reduced price. They'll probably come in with an offer of like £5 and £10 and then break it down and sell off the components, just exactly as I did. Okay, so breaking down, it had proved to me that it had worked. So what I did, I thought like this. I thought, right, what are the main laptops out there that are about 8 or 9 years old? So I Googled it. I Googled what was the top selling laptop in the year. So if we go from the example that I'm about to use with you, I got this last year, so that's 2024. I probably would have put in 2016, 2017, okay? Because you've got then the laptops that are out there, the laptops that have been purchased, and maybe the laptops that have been broken, okay? Or one component on them had broken. And what I was going to do is I was going to put the components onto eBay for any laptop repairer out there. So these are the laptops that are more likely to have the demand for spare pieces, okay? The thought of getting a present day laptop that is heavily discounted because the next model is about to come out and then break that down, I don't think that would work because the demand for the pieces won't really be out there. Maybe you'll get the demand for the HDD drive, maybe you'll get the demand for the RAM chips, but I would say the rest of it, maybe the ports are of different sizes and types, and the computers that have broken down haven't broken down yet. Okay, you've got to go back in time a little bit. This is the philosophy that I was having. If you go back in time a little bit, okay, you've got to provide a service for those computers that are more likely to break and need these components. So by looking at the top sellers from like between 5 and 10 years ago, I would say is the thing to do. So that's exactly what I did. And what it came back with was the Dell XPS model was a very, very good seller. So I thought I would buy one, and I did, okay? And I bought one that didn't have a HDD drive in it, and it didn't have the RAM chips in it, but it had everything else, okay? I paid £48.31 for it, including postage, okay? And I took it to bits and I put all of the components on, okay? The keyboard, the power port, the casing, the trackpad, the motherboard, everything like this, okay? The heatsink. Google Lens is a fantastic resource, because you're probably thinking to yourself, well, hold on, after I've taken it to bits, I don't know exactly what they are. Google Lens it. Take a photograph of it through Google Lens and it will tell you exactly what it is. Honestly, it's fantastic, because I didn't know, okay? I'm no computer expert. I can't tell what something is just by looking at it, but by Google Lensing it, it told me exactly what it was. Also, there's probably the manufacturer's name on it and a serial or model number underneath. Google that and you will also come up with exactly what it is. So actually finding out what these pieces are called isn't particularly difficult, okay, if you are tech savvy. All right, if you can use the Google Lens on your mobile phone, or if you can use Google to type something in, okay, you will be okay with that. So how well did I do on this Dell XPS computer? I did very well. Okay, regular viewers to this channel will know that my profit margin target is between 50 and 100% markup. Okay, now from this Dell XPS that I paid £48.31 from, I have currently so far got back £76.15, which is a profit of £27.84 and a percentage markup of 57%. Okay, so I'm in that bracket. And there's also a few bits left. The heatsink still hasn't sold for it. The palm rest still haven't sold for it either. So that's potentially an extra £15 roughly. Okay, so I should be into the high 70s in terms of a markup for this. Now, I'm happy with that. These things are small, okay, easy to store, and as long as you label it properly in terms of the box that you put it in is, you know, you can use your eBay SKU labels, the SKU labels, to actually locate whereabouts it is. That's fantastic. Have a look at a few videos on that if you don't know what I'm talking about. eBay SKU. It's a way of cataloging all of the things that you have in your shop. Yeah, so that does make a bit of money. Yeah, it's not a huge amount of money, but as I say, this is a side hustle. This is ticking money along in the background. These computers don't particularly take that long to break down, probably about an hour. Okay, and then you've probably got about an hour in terms of photographing everything. All right, so yeah, it gets eyes to your store, okay? And then if you can create links with local, or well, I'm saying local, national or international laptop fixers, okay, laptop engineers, then that's good, all right? The postage on these things isn't particularly high either. You can usually get away, because the components are so small, you can usually get away with quite a low postage rate as well. So this one worked for me. This Dell XPS laptop that I broke down, I made profit from, okay? But I suppose the skill is the sourcing, okay? Maybe I could have, I paid full price for this because it was an experiment. Maybe if I would have gone in and said, look, it hasn't got the HDD, it hasn't got the RAM chips, okay, I'll make you an offer of 30 quid. Maybe he or she, whoever was selling it, would have come back and said, okay, 35. You would already have knocked a tenner off that, okay? So it's the sourcing as well that's really important, okay? Right, what am I going to talk about next? Let's talk about the next computer, shall we? Okay, so that got me thinking. I thought that because there was no RAM chip and because there was no HDD on the other computer that I bought, I missed out a little bit there. I think I paid too much for that, personally. Okay, I still made a profit from it, but I think I paid too much from it. So you live and learn, you live and learn. So the next one that I was going to buy was going to have an HDD in it and some RAM chips. And what I've done is I went online and I have sourced this Hewlett-Packard, okay, 15-inch. It is a Hewlett-Packard 15AF156SA laptop, okay, running Windows 10. This has got its HDD in it. I think it's 1 terabyte of HDD, okay, and it's also got 4 gigabytes of RAM, all right, and it's got everything on it apart from, okay, for sourcing it for that price, there will normally be something wrong with it. Apparently the battery isn't very good, okay, the battery is dead and it only runs off mains power. Okay, all right, I can live with that. So the battery comes out. I can't sell the battery. Okay, that's got to go down the tip. But the rest of it, I can sell. Okay, so I'm quite looking forward to tearing this down, okay, and seeing what's inside it and putting everything onto eBay again, okay, for people to know what is on there, okay. Now, in terms of knowing when this was made in early 2016. You can tell off the serial numbers when the computer was made for HP, and I'll tell you now why. Hopefully now a little photos coming in of the back of the HP laptop with the model number, the serial number on, etc, etc. Right, what you do is you look at the serial number, okay, and you take the 4th, 5th and 6th figures. Okay, so this one, it starts with a CND, don't know what that means, okay, but then it says 616. That is relevant, okay. Now, what that says is, okay, does it say 616? Sorry, 615. Crikey, it's so small, my glasses are struggling. 615, okay. Now, the 6 stands for 2016, okay. That is the year that it was brought out. You could say, well, Smithy, it could be 2006. Computers with this amount of storage weren't around in 2006. Okay, so this one is from 2016. And the 15 means the 15th week of that year. All right, so HP computers, you can easily now, by looking at the serial number, okay, say if you're out and about and you come across a computer, you can now tell when this computer was made by looking at the serial number. Okay, so the 15th week, what's that? We're talking approximately April, okay? Late April, okay, to be exact. All right, so there you go. You now know how to actually age a computer. So, as I said, looking forward to taking this to bits, all right, and then getting everything online and seeing how it does and seeing if it makes a profit, okay? Considering that it's got the HDD and the RAM chips in it, and the HDD is 1 terabyte, and I only paid £43.98 for it, I think I'm onto something there. I think that's a profit, and I think that is going to be a higher profit than the Dell XPS. But it's not just laptops, okay? I've told this story in my previous videos as well about our Bosch tumble dryer, which the tumble dryer spin, as you know, okay, and it was a couple of summers ago. It wasn't sounding very healthy at all, and you could hear that the drive shaft, okay, or the drive shaft, the drive belt that goes around the drum and then goes around the motor, okay, it was flapping inside. So I was thinking to myself, it's probably split, and there's something which is then hitting the top of the tumble dryer, and that's what we can hear. It just didn't, I haven't got a video of it, of what we were hearing, but it did not sound healthy, okay? Lucky this was the middle of summer, so we could have the stuff out on the line anyway. So the back came off, and lo and behold, the belt had split. And when it was turning, the belt was going all over the place. So yeah, that needed to be replaced. To replace that belt, I can remember doing it. It took a whole afternoon. Like the guts had to come out and then go back in again. I enjoy doing stuff like this, actually seeing whether I can repair it. It was a bit of a challenge, and it was repaired. It did work, and you do think to yourself, get in, yes, okay, but you don't know how much longer it's going to last. 6 months. It lasted for another 6 months before. I mean, these things, they need to be put under perfect tension. They need to be put in exactly the right place, and it wasn't. So in the end, we had to bite the bullet, get another tumble dryer. But I did think to myself, right, I know what's gone wrong. It's the belt, okay? So I can take small pieces off of this Bosch tumble dryer and sell them, okay? So far, I will admit, okay, I did take quite a few of the pieces off, but I only actually I haven't got round to cleaning up. There are some pieces that need cleaning up, like there's a pump for it was a condenser dryer, so there's a pump which needs a bit of a clean. But the things that were easy to clean and easy to get on, I put on, okay? The door, I put that on, sold, okay? The front panel with the control chips behind it and the motherboard, sold. And the tray for the condenser, like container, that sold as well. So all in all, I've got back from that Bosch tumble dryer £56.88. So tumble dryers cost a bit. I was actually quite surprised by how much it cost. It was northwards of £400, the new one that we got, but I've got 50 quid off it. And there's also stuff out there as well in my shed that I'm still going to clean up, make good, and put those on as well. Okay, so I reckon there's another 100 quid there, maybe. All right, so if you want to take money off your next like white goods purchase, it's worth doing. It is worth doing. And then the bits that are too big or the bits that you can't put on, just get them in your car, take them down the tip, scrap metal. Okay, so you know that's no problem at all. Some people even use the drums as planters because they're made from stainless steel. So yeah, you can use a drum as a planter, put a bit of mud in it and grow things to make it look nice. So yeah, there is that as well. So that is definitely worth doing if you want to take a little bit of money off your white goods. But what I would say is that probably the demand for white goods spares is not as high as the demand for laptop spares. But these things were still small, easily packaged, easily sent, okay? And the 3 things that I put on from this went within a month, easily, okay? So, yeah, there is a demand out there, but as I said, I don't think it's as high as the demand for laptop parts. And finally, I'm going to talk about TVs now. Right, this one is a project that is about halfway through now. Okay, my eldest son had a computer set up in his room and he had a JVC TV. Okay, it was a JVC, it was a 49-inch I think it was, is it an LED or LCD? Hold on. LED. Okay, look. I'll show you. This is the box that I put all the pieces in, and I actually wrote on the top there 49-inch LED Smart Ultra TV, and I also put the model number there. Okay, so it was a 49-inch LED Smart Ultra TV, and the model number was LT49C80 bracket C close bracket. Okay, so that's what I had. Now, he had it up in his room, okay, but he's really got into his computer stuff and he's got himself a job, and so he's saved up to buy himself a tower computer, and then he got the monitor for it as well, so he didn't need the big TV. Okay, great. So we thought, well, we'll bring it downstairs then and put it into our back cabin, which is this room, okay, and have it as a TV in this room where we can like play Spotify through it, where we can play YouTube through it, or we can stream TV. So it will be a good second TV. Okay, we brought it down, and it was quite obvious quite early on that there was a blue tint to everything. Okay, and so I looked that up on YouTube, and it sounded as though the backlight LED lights had gone and needed replacing. Right, okay, I'm always up for fixing things, as I told you the story about our Bosch tumble dryer. So I watched a few videos about how to change the LED lights, and basically TVs are done in layers, and the LED lights were like right at the bottom layer. And I took the back off the telly and like all the clips and all the screws and everything. I was like, nah. This isn't, I wasn't confident that this was going to work. So, and as well, trying to keep the screen sort of like uncracked while taking all of these pieces off. It just wasn't, it was it was beyond my skill set and beyond my tools. So I thought to myself, right, okay, we'll get another TV, okay, and we will take this one to bits to see how we get on. That's exactly what I did. Now, let's have a look, shall we, at the sort of bits that you can get from this JVC 49-inch LED TV, okay? Firstly, the speakers, all right? There you go. There's two of them. Here's the other one. Let's have a look. Okay, so two speakers, all right? Now, I looked on eBay. I put in the serial number, okay, for this, or sorry, the model number for this TV. And the speakers, you're looking at about £9 for those, all right? What else have we got? Oh, the power lead, all right? This is the power lead for it, and it has a specific end to it. So I should think this is just for JVC TVs. If it was universal, I suppose that it would cut down on wastage, wouldn't it? All right, so, but I'm no TV repairer. But the power lead, okay, you're looking at about a tenner for that on eBay. Now, whether these will go for these prices or not, probably not, but there's still a value to it, okay, and I'm still going to put it on. I reckon that there is something here that I can make. Right, then we get into these sort of things, the power boards, okay. Now, this one, it is either, is it the power supply board? Okay, it says Vestal on it, if it is the power supply board. I can't see. Come on, where is it? Do you know what? I had all of this set up properly, and now I can't see whereabouts it is. Okay, but I believe that this is the power supply board. Okay, there's two boards. There's a power supply board and a main AV board. Okay, but this one is the power supply board. Okay, this one is the power supply board. And can you see, look, there is a manufacturer's name on it there. Can you see that Vestel, Vestel? And there's also a number on it as well. So if you can't Google Lens it, it is worth just looking at the board, and you can actually pick things up. Can you see that says 17MB130E? Okay, so what I did is I put Vestel and that number into it, and it did come up with something. Okay, now the two boards, okay, you're looking at the power supply board, you're looking at about 16 quid, and the main AV board, you're looking at about 14 quid. Okay, so there's stuff there. All right, all of this together, and the plastic bags that you see attached to it contain the screws for that board. So I'm selling the board with the screws. All right, so I'm helping out by including the screws. What else have I got? This, okay, this put into a plastic bag is, guess what this is? Have a guess. I'm going to tell you, obviously, but I'm hoping that you're having a guess now. It's what receives the infrared remote control signals. There's a little red light on that as well. So the little red light that flashes when you press your remote control, this is for that, okay? And I think it would also be linked to the power supply as well, so as a standby light. But that's what this is. And that goes for, I want you to put that down. It's saying £10. Something as small as that goes for a tenner, all right? The remote, okay, still in pretty good nick. These are £10 all day long, all right? If you see a remote control on your travels and it's got a decent brand name at the bottom, okay, you can put in genuine JVC, genuine Samsung, genuine Sony remote. Okay, usually you can pick them up for a couple of quid, and usually they go for about northwards of a tenner. All right, maybe just below a tenner, but they're round about the £10 mark, maybe just above, maybe £11, £12. So yeah, it's worth doing. Also, this, okay, This is the Wi-Fi board, okay, which goes into the TV because it's a smart TV. So that is worth taking out. And that is a Wi-Fi module, and they go for about £4.50, £5. Every little bit helps. The postage cost on that will be very, very low. And last but not least, what are these? What's this? Hang on, this looks, yes, this one, okay, the power button there. All right, so that's the power button that was on the back of it. That goes for about £8, okay. And basically, I'm going to include if I get these, the wiring loom, okay, or the wiring loop, all of the wires. So I'll put these on as well. And the wires go for about a tenner, okay. So that is all of the parts, apart from one part, okay, and the other part is down in the shed. All right, the other part is the stand that goes on the bottom. Now, out of all of those parts, it quite surprised me actually, because I was expecting one of the main boards to be the most expensive thing. No, it's not. It's the stand. The stand goes for about 20 quid, okay? So all of those together that I just talked about to you, and all of the prices together, if you add them all up, it comes to £111.50. That's not bad, okay? That's not bad. So if you do have to change one of your TVs, okay, because it has broken, all right, and in this case, I could have taken it to the local cash converters, but they would have seen the blue tint on it, and it's dishonest. You can't do that. You can't do it because in effect the TV is broken. But this TV in working condition, if I would have taken it to cash converters, they would have only given me about 60 quid for it. This, I believe I'm going to make more than 60 quid from it. So yeah, it's worth doing. And as I said, there's people out there. Now, I've never done a TV before, so this is my experiment, and this is going to be quite interesting. All right. Anyway, so there's just some ideas there about breaking down electrical products, which is something that I do. Keep your eye out. All right. Keep your eye out. And certainly like TVs, LED, LCD, and any above that, and smart TVs definitely are worth looking at. With these smaller TVs, like the 15-inch ones, everybody's looking for computer monitors now. Yeah, actually having like 2 or 3 monitors attached to a computer is now pretty much the norm. So I know that I've got 2. In fact, can we see? There's my little setup there in the corner, and you can see I've got 2 monitors there. All right. I would always use 2 monitors from now on. Going back down to 1 monitor is not really something that I would do, because it's so handy to be able to cut and paste across, and you know, especially if you're creating like if you're doing video editing and you're putting pictures in, or you're creating Canva things and putting pictures in as well, it is great to have the 2 screens and just moving things across. It is far easier than going up to the tabs and closing tabs down and stuff like this. Right, I hope you've enjoyed this, okay? I hope that you've actually seen that there is money to be made, okay? Not huge amounts of money, but great things to be putting onto your eBay store to keep it just churning along in the background, okay? Everything's beginning to fall into place now with what I'm wanting to do with this channel. I'll always have the eBay store, okay? But what I'm doing now is I'm freeing up a bit more time from my eBay store. Yeah, sales have suffered because of it, but at the end of the day, it's all about the amount of money that I'm making, okay? I am going to look this coming year. 2026 is going to be the year of looking at other ways of getting passive income coming in, okay? I've just about finished my spreadsheet for eBay stores, okay? So that is something that I'm going to put on Etsy and sell that spreadsheet. All right, there will be a video about that coming up soon, about the very, very good spreadsheet that you can actually use to track all of your sales, because it's so important that you track your sales, because unfortunately we do have to declare our earnings to the claw of the tax man. So that's just one idea that I've got. There's also a lot of print on demand stuff that you can do. There's videos, other videos that you can create. There's so much stuff that you can put onto the internet to actually create a backstory for you in terms of generating passive income. The way that I look at it, okay, because this is a side hustle, because this is a second job, you then put that money into an ISA or towards a holiday. That's the two things that I do, and see it grow. All right, in terms of putting it into the ISA, obviously the holiday is for enjoyment, but the ISA is seeing it grow and using it as another form of income if you get dividend shares, which is another thing that I'm doing. The eBay store, when I do retire from my current job, I'm a teacher, is something that I will then dive into full time. So at the moment, it's just being set up. There's a few more things being set up in the background. I'll tell you what, this is a channel that's going to be going places. Please like, comment, subscribe, because I'm going to take you through my whole journey of this over the next, well, you know, for forever. You'll forever have me on your screens talking about what I am doing to generate the passive income and income in general. Right, I'm beginning to waffle. That's far too much of me talking. I hope you've enjoyed this, okay? It is a good way of making money. So let's move on, shall we? In, On and Gone 73 will be out next week. I've had a great sale this week on a hair care product, okay? And I'll be telling you all about that next week. Super stuff. Let's see you soon. Bye-bye.